Good evening, folks. This is Jay from Cold Nights, and we have another wonderful episode of the Cold Takes Gaming Podcast. Tonight, we have a panel podcast with three wonderful content creators, and we're going to be talking about video game collecting and its future. So tonight, we have Mandy from Mandyleeplays, we have Phil from the Jokester Mr. J, and we have Alie from Allie's Wonderland. So I'm going to throw it out to you guys. Mandy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Mandy. I have a channel, Mandyleeplays, where I talk about all things RPG and gaming altogether. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Good deal. How about you, Phil?
Hello everybody. My name is Phil1up, and I have a YouTube channel. Currently it's Jokester, and I do unboxings, some funny videos. I haven't done any Let's Plays in a while. I want to do more reviews on things, and but yeah, I do that. I do some social media stuff. Try to promote game deals and other things is going on so people can get those games they want, and just try to be a positive part of the community, because that's what it's all about, community.
Absolutely. Alie, introduce yourself.
I have a relatively new YouTube channel called Alie in Wonderland, where I focus on basically physical games, Metroidvanias, RPGs, and cozy games, which are like my focus, and then some unboxings eventually. And yeah, kind of like Bill, I kind of just want to give to the community and make a really fun gaming, community of folks. So yeah, it's nice to be here.
Good deal. And you all know who I am, the host. So the first kind of topic I want to brush on is our collections. Obviously, we're all pretty prolific game collectors. So I'd like you guys to take a couple minutes each and kind of talk about, how you curate your collection, what's in your collection, and maybe some of the highlights of it. So Mandy, how's your collection looking?
My collection is looking good. I have compared to other collectors, it's kind of mid. But that's because I like to collect games I'm actually playing. My collection is just curated towards me, so it's like different from other people's, and I love it because it might not have like the biggest pile, but they're the games I love, so I'm cool with that.
Good deal. Do you collect any retro stuff?
No. Retro's kind of hard, so I just never really tried. And plus, I'm not really into retro games. That's not really my cup of tea. I mostly collect a lot of RPGs, Switch, 3DS, PlayStation 4, and yeah, that's about it. Oh, PlayStation 5, my bad.
That's a smart way to do it. I don't, that way, I saw your video on your backlog. You get a pretty big backlog, but it's real easy to fill up your backlog if you're collecting a whole bunch of stuff you're really not interested in playing. So that's a smart thing right there. Phil,
I also
how's your...
like to... Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I also like to collect gaming accessories or figurines to decorate my room and stuff.
Nice.
So,
what would you say your nicest one is?
right now, I have a Nanoidroid of Ryza from Atelier Ryza. She's a
Nice.
cutie. One day I'm
Yep.
gonna get a big one. So I'm excited.
Good deal.
I got a few Nindoroids. I really love those. Yeah, they're really great.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
They're
adorable.
cute.
too.
They're compact. They're 4 inches, so they don't
And
take
they're
up tons of
cheaper.
space.
I just like the
Yeah,
chibi
they're cheaper.
faces.
Because it's like some of the best figures with all the accessories and posability. It's like you start to push past that $100 mark, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I really
Yeah,
like them.
some some of my collection are mostly in the not cheap, but like I think the most most expensive thing I own is I don't even know. I
So
just collect what I see
in
that I like.
fairness, I have 0 Nendroids, but I do think they're cute. So I just don't think I'd have room for them. But Phil, how's your collection looking?
My collection, I still never got around to actually counting up my Switch. I really need to, but I use the Game Eye app, and last I logged, I have about 400 PS4 games physically. I'm probably pushed past that
Wow.
because I've gotten a lot of holiday and like Christmas hauls. So I still need to do
Yeah.
a big, huge unboxing video of that, which is gonna come up on my channel soon. So look forward to that if you like unboxing videos of figures and games and all that good stuff. So that is probably the biggest thing I have, and then Switch is probably second. 3DS, I got a lot of sealed 3DS games, and they tend to be like the Atlas JRPGs. So the
Field?
Shimigami Tensei stuff, the Entrance Odyssey stuff. I have a sealed copy of Yokai Watch 3. That is a very pricey 3DS title. And then I have I collect a lot of figures. I have a lot of Ninja Turtles, a lot of Dragon Ball, amiibos, um, and then I have PS3, PS2, some PS1. Not a
Wow.
lot of the older stuff because it's just so expensive, and I wish I had more of it. And part of me sometimes wishes I would have put more money into that than modern gaming, but it's just it's just how the cookie crumbled. So that's a lot of the stuff that I have. So yeah, it's
Nice.
pretty
That's a
cool.
lot.
I'm running out of room. Like it's so bad. And I got like 3 or 4 packages today, and my mom's like, it's like Christmas for you every day. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Why are you jealous?
Oh, wow. That's actually pretty big. That's why I said
Yeah.
mine was medium.
Oh,
Because
Well,
compared to my
it's not how much you
uh
have. It's how much you love what you have. Your
hmm
collection is all about you. So even if it's small, it's tailored to you, and that's what makes it special. It's about you. So
good.
yeah.
That's
Good deal.
true.
All right. So, Alie, we know you are quite the collector. What do you got going on over there?
I have a storage facility by now, but
oh my
so
gosh.
some people call it Alley Stop instead of GameStop, but so I have we have probably across all systems. We start with, let's say we have the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance systems. We have
Wow.
the PSP. We have like probably 300 PSP games.
Wow.
Wow.
PlayStation 1 and 2, probably like, I didn't even count. I think around 300, but not the PlayStation 2. I feel like is like the weak title. We don't have a lot of like the good games. Like Phil said, it's just impossible to collect for PlayStation 2 because the ones that we really want, like Shadow Hearts and all the great, awesome RPGs that were on that
Uh,
system, just too expensive. There's no way that we'll get it now. But we have some good titles there too. And then we have probably most of the PS Vita games. I think we're missing like 50 ESRB titles, and only because they're like in the $200 range.
I've got like
Wow.
five Vita games that it's like, why do I have this?
I don't even
um,
have
Why?
a Vita.
we started with Vita, so this was kind of like before the Switch started. We were really into the PS Vita. Then I have like around maybe 200 3DS games and 200 DS games.
Wow.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
and
I'm moving
then
in.
around 500 Nintendo Switch games by now.
That's a bit.
Um,
Mm.
and other collections that we obviously have, we're also very big on figures. I definitely love Nendoroids. So when you said that, Mandy, I also have Riza. She just came in. Um,
Oh, that's
and
nice.
yeah, she's adorable.
She
Um,
is.
and we have a lot of Kyoto figures. We have Figmas. We have, just now I started my gargoyle collection. We are a mess. We have everything. We have Gundams. So like if you're into model
Wow.
kits, like we have a closet of like 30 or 40 kits that we still have to do. Um, it's just a big mess. That's what I call it. It's a store by now. So
But you live in New York?
I do live
Space
in New
must be,
York.
oof.
We have a small apartment, so yeah. So we try to keep everything in closets until we move out. We're hoping to buy a house by the end of the year.
Oh,
So,
congrats.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So buy that mansion and
buy that
then
mansion.
make space for me and Jay, Mandy, and everybody else to come hang out because that's where we're all moving in.
Am I adopting everyone?
Yes, we're gonna have the Fincher mansion.
Imagine
That's a
that.
lot of games.
I think that you know what's the saddest part in New York, that it's not a lot of, okay, there's not a lot of gamer friends. So like when you even want to
Really?
host like a gaming event and you want to have friends over like to play video games, there's not a lot of people out here that are just appreciative of this stuff. They think it's a waste of money because they'd rather spend it on, like, I don't know, going to the city and stuff like that.
I know a
But
lot of
That's
gamers in New
crazy.
York.
really, oh, I must be hanging
Yeah.
out with the wrong crowds.
That's the same thing for me. Like besides my friend Lacey, y'all probably saw her in some of my videos. I met her online and we lived in the same state and we became friends, but it's like for her she couldn't find anybody to hang out with because we live in a country bumpkin state where it's like sports, hunting, fishing,
Yeah,
yeehaw. So nobody cares about video games here,
it's
and it's
true.
hard to actually
Yeah,
find people to connect with.
I remember at work when I told them that I'm a gamer, that was probably the first and last time I said anything because they're like, "How old are you?" I'm like, 33.
The
Well, aren't you too
disrespect.
old? I'm sorry. Like, you're too old for video games. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm never saying that again. Forget
Well, next time you should say it loud on your
it.
chest. Say, I'm into video games.
Loud
You're
and
right.
proud.
Do you have a
Loud and
problem with
proud.
that?
Yeah.
Do you pay my bills? No. Okay.
People like to judge all the time when
I
you're a
can't with
gamer.
those people.
I know, me too. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, so me myself, Cold Nights actually started as a retail eBay front. I used to sell and resell action figures and games. Currently, we're maintaining 2 storage facilities. We probably have about 700 PS2 games.
nice.
My
And,
God.
I used to buy out like video stores, so I came across a lot of great titles real cheap. I have a lot of the heavy hitters like Rule of Rose, a lot of good stuff. A lot of PS1 games. Suikoden 2, love that. Got
Those
that.
are expensive.
Yeah, all those things. They're expensive now. We'll see what's going to happen with them re-releasing everything. But and then I probably have about the same amount of PS4 games as Phil does. And I'm not quite as heavy into the Switch as far as collecting. It's what I've been mainly playing recently. But I maybe have like 150 Switch titles. But it's pretty curated. Like I'm trying not to pick up like filler titles or anything for it. And then the house is just full of figures and baseball cards and you name it. So basically, when we stopped running the store, I kept going out and buying things. We were not really online shoppers, me and my wife. We like to go out to like Goodwill, Savers, GameStop, yard sales, pawn shops. So I was always looking for crazy deals. So we stopped selling but kept buying. So I call it the hoard. It's more like a hoard now. So yeah, that's the story there.
I'm like the more down to earth collector here. So you got like hundreds. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, you mean you don't hoard your house? That's a great way to live, seriously.
All my stuff is in one shelf in my bedroom.
So
Wait, just give it a few years. It'll grow. It'll grow.
So the next
She's a
question.
smart collector. That's why she collects games that she actually wants to play. I wish I learned how to have self-control and do that instead of spending it on every little thing that comes out. Oh, a Switch game physical? I gotta have it. I don't even play it, but I gotta have
Yeah.
it.
I have
See,
some
even
restraint. Like, am I gonna play it or something like that?
I buy games that I want to play, but the problem is it's like I don't play them. It's like I spend more time buying the games that I intend to play, but
Oh,
I
my
never
heart.
play them.
I like to call myself like a practical collector because every game in my collection has a practical use because I play them.
It's
None of
awesome.
them are just there to just be there.
Yeah.
That's why mine's so curated and small.
And that's good. That's probably what we all need to do. All of us crazy collectors need to do. And if
Cough, cough.
y'all think y'all have like crazy collectors, man, some of my friends that are like they have even crazier collections where they're building their own custom shelves, and then some of them are trying to go for a complete Switch library. I mean complete, as in every single physical for the Switch, including the boxes with codes. And I'm like,
Jesus.
y'all are insane. Like, I love you, but please, please no. That is beyond level. That's like beyond Thanos or something.
That's
I'm like, as
crazy.
long as y'all like people can spend their money how they want, so as long as it's not
Yeah.
hurting anybody,
Mhm.
if they want to buy a bunch of games, then I guess
I mean, I'm with
no
you.
one's
It's
gonna
just
stop me.
crazy.
I'm not gonna stop them.
Yeah, yeah, I
All right,
agree.
so the next question I wanted to pose to you folks is what you think about third-party websites like LRG, PlayAsia, and even something like VGP. Do you use them, and do you think that they're good for the video game industry and video game collecting? What do you think,
Um,
Mandy?
mine's gonna be quick because I rarely use those. Play Asia, I don't like because shipping's expensive, but it's still better than buying it from Japan and shipping it over here.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like limited run. I feel like that's a giant scam, and they always ship their games out late. So I don't like them. The other websites I don't really use. Um, I usually just shop at Amazon, Best Buy, Target, the usual.
So do you do most of your purchases online, or do you go to stores and kind of look around for stuff?
I do both. I feel like collecting nowadays kind of forces you to be online more than you want. Like, I remember when I used to go to stores and see collector's editions or just games out in the open, but now it's more you have to buy it online and stuff, pre-order and all that junk. So
I
I'll
was
still
actually
go to stores to see if I could find stuff, but I usually, if I'm looking for a specific game, I usually have to buy it online.
I was actually pretty surprised when I went to GameStop today to pick up my Fire Emblem Engage, and just like you, I had just got the basic edition pre-ordered. They actually had some of the like big Divine edition or whatever they were, and he's like, "We have a few extras. Do you want to get this instead?" And I'm like, "No."
Don't tempt
So
me.
I was surprised, but yeah, I thought about it. I was like, "Can I afford the extra money? Maybe not."
It was sold out at my Best Buy, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird because physical gaming, you used to have to go to stores, flea markets, stuff like that, mom and pop shops. But I don't even think a mom and pop shop is around here anymore. It's
Yeah, it's sad
sad.
to see it. Like they're kind of going away.
Yeah, so we're forced to bid on eBay and people scalp to no extent. It's just because I
I kind of.
remember.
It's in
Oh,
a rough place.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna add something to that because it just made me think of when I went into this mom and pop shop, if you can call it that, and they mostly just cared about Magic the Gathering cards. And when you came in there looking at their games or whatever, they acted like you didn't exist. But I remember I found this game that I wanted. I think it was the Dark Souls 3 Steelbook trilogy, and it had been out of print, so it was starting to get really pricey. And I go in there and they had it marked down, and I put it up there, and then they come out to the cash register, they pull out their phone, and then they're like, let me check the prices on it, even though it was like an old sticker that said it was
Mhm.
60 when it was going for like over 100 now. And I was like, that is so wrong.
Everybody's
It's on
scalping.
you to update your prices. And for somebody to come in first, you don't even treat them with any respect. You treat them like they don't matter because they're not bringing in Magic the Gathering cards. And then they come up there to buy a game from you, and you're just like, you're gonna whip out your phone and try to price gouge them.
They scalped
Like
you
that
in
ain't.
like real time.
Yeah, yeah. I was
I
like,
was
that is
like,
so
what?
bull crap. I will never come back here again.
So Phil, what do you think about these online retailers, and do you use?
Well, I haven't bought from Play Asia in a while, but they do have a lot of cool exclusives, a lot of great games, and their shipping used to be kind of where if you bought their PlayAsia exclusives, they have free shipping, and then they got rid of that. But now they have it like if you spend 99, you'll get free shipping. And sometimes they'll have like a promotional around the holiday where they'll give you free shipping, and then they have reward points. So I kind of like that. I'm planning to buy from them. And I will say in their defense, it's old YouTube video I have on my channel, but I bought Gundam 3 Break Edition on the PS4 and Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. The only way to get the PS4 physical of that, Asian English, imported both of those, and it took a while to get them. And they both came damaged because Jamaica, New York Customs had got it, opened them up, slashed the discs in the cases, and then taped it back up and sent it to me. So I
What?
reached out to PlayAsia and I showed them pictures, and they sent me out replacements free of cost without having to return anything. So I think PlayAsia is awesome. And as for limited run, I've kind of had my ups and downs with them, like other people. But I mean, it is what it is. They are doing more retail releases now on Amazon and open pre-orders on a lot of stuff, which I have been buying from them since Shadow of Colossus, when you used to have to try to get in there really fast, and it was like having a heart attack in the morning to wake up and try to get those and miss it. So in that regard, that's better. You don't have to fight other people to get it. And now that they carry stuff on Best Buy and Amazon, that's kind of nice. And as for some of the other companies, like Premium Edition, I guess I should share the fact that I now work for Premium Edition. So
Oh,
I will be
congrats.
handling their customer support. That's a big announcement.
Wow.
Congratulations, man.
So
Good
yeah,
Congrats.
stuff.
yeah, it's been pretty awesome. Um,
Good
really
thing I didn't
wonderful
say anything bad
people.
about them. That would have been awkward.
Like, I don't like their games.
We
I'm
all
like,
love
well,
Premium Edition.
I mean, I'm good friends with the guys. I've interviewed Barry on my channel a couple of times. I tell you, if you ever have him on a podcast and you talk to him, it's just you'll lose so much track of time. They're great guys, and I've only been doing training for a couple of days, but I love doing the customer service. Somebody gets their challenge patch email submitted and I get to reply to them, and everybody's so excited for that. And I love that they offer the challenge patches. They reward you for opening the game and playing the game, and you get this free little thing sent off to you, kind of like in the 90s when Nintendo used to send you that kind of cool stuff for just playing their games. So I really like it, and I'm really excited for the future of that. And I'm also going to be doing a channel rebrand, and I can show y'all the art. I already showed Jay. Let me kind of switch to that now if I can. And
I don't want to be the one to tell you, but you didn't mirror your background, so it was backwards.
what does that mean? It's
You're-
backwards?
Yeah, it said like EP backwards.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to work this. I don't know how to work this. Forgive me. Forgive me. But this is my new channel art. It's me.
Looks
I
pretty.
had
That is
a friend's
awesome.
friend drew it.
Nice.
It says Phil1up collects. I don't know how to unmirror or mirror this because I'm not technology, but yeah, I'm gonna be having that, and then I'm gonna be changing my Twitter name and everything, just so when people get an email response from me, it's my full name, and if I go reply to them on Twitter, they're gonna be like, who's this random jokester person replying to me? So I want them to know that, hey, it's me. I care enough to say, hey, what's up? So yeah.
That is pretty
Nice.
neat, Phil. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's
So,
awesome, Phil.
let's get with Alie here. What do you think about these third-party websites?
So as a really like big collector, I live off of all these third-party stores. So for example, I purchased all my limited games and limited run. I have Strictly Limited. I have Special Reserve. I have Play Asia. I definitely have Premium Edition. And obviously, it's really difficult to keep up with all of that. So I usually follow a lot of major websites to find out what the physical releases are out. And I also follow JP. I don't know if you guys have heard of JP, but he's on Twitter. I'm sure everybody by now heard of JP, but his is JP Switch Mania. Where he comes out with like weekly physical releases on the Switch, and now I think he's also doing PS5. And I can't say anything bad about a lot of them. I think that the only like third party store that I try not like I try to avoid it is First Press Games. And that's only because they can take up to 2 to 3 years with their releases, and sometimes they might not
Oh my
even
God.
actually fulfill. As from what I heard recently, a lot of people are like not getting the games that they want, and they won't even refund, and they actually turned off their comments, so people can't even comment on their Twitter, which I find sketchy, and I don't like that kind of customer service when it comes to third-party games. But when it comes to like third-party like physical collecting, I think that it's very important to have some of these places because we want to keep up with basically like the limited print option, because of some collectors who like me want to do it for also the value, not just for gaming on a certain title. Like I understand gaming, collect like buying, purchasing games and then playing them, that's one thing, but I also do it because like, will this game, let's say I don't want to play it, but will this game bring me some kind of, I guess, value in the future? That's also something that I consider when I collect from limited print companies. So definitely something that I do. I don't really do any of my video game shopping in stores unless I'm going to Video Game New York City, which is in Manhattan, where they have a lot of retro games as well as fairly new limited print games as well. So it's easy to find something maybe that eBay is scalping at the moment. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna shock everyone. I don't order games online at all.
What?
The very
That's
limited
shocking.
the very limited amount that I
Yeah.
do is through eBay. I'm one of the like dinosaur collectors that wants to hunt in the wild all the time. I found some incredible stuff. I'm not just a game collector, I'm a console collector. I got my Atari Jaguar like for like $100 at a flea market. They're going for like $300 to $400.
I wish.
I got my top loader Nintendo with 2 dog bone controllers for $5 at a Goodwill. Those
wow.
were the things that
Damn.
and it's still what I live for. I love going to GameStop and seeing what rare games people might have turned in, or if I'm there on day one for like a JRPG release from like Gust or something, or Atlas or NIS. Like that's the stuff that I live for. And I always go up to the counter and I'm looking behind the counter and like, hey, what's that? Is that a pre-order? Is that something I can grab? Like I don't know. I'm probably a little older than you guys. I'm 39. I came up in a time where like when I was younger, the internet was really just becoming a thing. And I never really got into the internet. I mean, I ran a damn eBay store, but I never really bought stuff online. I sold a ton of stuff and shipped a ton of stuff out to people, but I never really got comfortable with it. And, I have a couple friends that I talk to and they're like, you're crazy. Like you have to get on this.
Well, nowadays it's kind of you have to.
And I'm
Like
trying.
some games you can't
I'm
even
trying.
find in the store.
But it just makes me really sad that
Yeah.
it's kind of going away. And that's what I liked about it. And I love my games. Like I'm crazy about Fire Emblem Engage. I'm gonna play it all weekend and I'm gonna watch you probably stream it. And I love that stuff. And I love the modern games and I'll keep doing that. But it's sad to know that one of the things I loved so much about it going out and finding like PS2 games at Goodwill. That's going away. And it really sucks too as a collector. You know, I have all these valuable games and they keep getting re-released. And I'll see people post it on Twitter and they're all happy about it. They're
Yeah,
like,
isn't
oh,
that a
you
good
know,
thing?
they're releasing Oath and Felghana again. And I'm like, that means mine won't be worth $150 anymore. Like, so it's kind
Oh
of
yeah, I
like I'm
know.
happy
Yeah.
that other people will get to experience it, but I'm also sad because it makes what I have less special. And I know you shouldn't solely focus on the value of your collection, but it's hard for me to stop because for the longest time I dealt in sports cards, and that is a strictly value rarity based thing. So when I see re-releases and reprints that affect the value and rarity of the things I own, I'm happy that you get to play them, but I'm sad because mine is somehow less important now. So
Yeah, I seen that a lot, especially I don't know if you guys got the fire not the Fire Emblem, the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. I
that's
saw people were happy that it was like limited time, like if you were awake at that 1 hour mark
that's
kind of
actually where
vibe.
we're going next.
I already ranted
Um,
about that on my YouTube. I'm not gonna dread that up again.
so
But
that's actually my next question. Now I'll go right to you, Mandy. Did you order either of those? And what do you think about how they did that?
I didn't order any of them because I thought, well, I couldn't. And they handle it really poorly because I'm all for, getting a rare item, but they never gave people a chance. Like by the time I got online, it was all gone. I'm like, how is this fair?
Yeah.
So like yeah, because if they would have said, "Oh, look at this in an hour or so," or something to let us know that there's gonna be something, all right. But they didn't even give a heads up, nothing. And I was pissed. I was like, "Damn, this sucks." Um, I'm probably just gonna get the digital version. Oh, kind of have to at this point, unless they do a re-release. It was handled poorly. I feel like they could have done it where it was a limited release for a certain amount of time, and then after that time they stop. They give people a chance. No one's awake at that hour,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
for
I
sure.
don't know. But I'm over it at this point. Like I said, I'm just gonna get the digital.
So Phil, you don't want to comment on that one?
uh, well, I'll say this. Square Enix, to me personally, don't really. I I don't understand why a big AAA company that has tons of money like that can do a limited release at a weird hour where hardly anybody is going to be awake to be able to get it when they can just do retail releases. They have Asian English releases that they've done that are import friendly. But but then you go look at Nintendo and they did sort of a limited release with Mario 3D All Stars and the Bayonetta 1 Switch card, but they made
Mhm.
it retail everywhere. So you can get it everywhere. So I don't understand why Square Enix can't do that. But this was a really big blunder for them. But then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition was a really big blunder for Nintendo. So a lot of these companies, it's like one step forward, two steps back. And a lot of times I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what's going on there. I don't really
Yeah.
get it. As a collector, it can be really frustrating, and
Oh
I will
yeah.
never go through the experience of getting Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition again. That was 2 days of countless hours wasted. I just, I got it, but barely, and now I look at it and I'm kind of just like, I remember how frustrating it was more than how enjoyable it was to get. So I just want people to be able to get the games they want. And honestly, I'll have the elephant in the room. I have all of the Switch Shantae games with the LRG slip box physically factory sealed. It goes for a lot of money as the full set. If that dropped in value tomorrow and my copy was no worth more than like 35 bucks, I wouldn't really care because I bought it because I liked it. Sure, it's valuable, if I do fall on hard times, I know I could probably sell something and get some money if I need it, but it's not a big deal to me. I just want people to be able to get the games they want.
Well, I mean, that's not a
Yeah.
bad take for sure. So Alie, what do you think? Did you order them, and what do you think about what's going on?
Gonna get a lot of hate on this podcast. Oh man.
Say it loud.
I don't mind what Square Enix, well, I don't mind what Square Enix did because one, they don't have a reason to, please customers. Let's
Yeah,
just
they
begin with
do.
that. They do, but at the same time, they know that they're in demand and people want it, so they don't have to do anything. People will buy from them. Just like we said, scalpers will buy from them. They don't care who they sell it to as long as they sell it to. So they're not there to really worry about our feelings. They just make games and take it out, like to the public, and whoever gets a hold of one of these limited print games, that's fine, okay, great. And who doesn't, oh well, like that's why it was a limited print, right? And like honestly, I understand why Square released their game so late at night, and that's one of the reasons why, for example, Xenoblade Chronicles was not a good idea, because when Nintendo announced the time and place for the order, there were so many people connected to it at once that it crashed, and there were so many issues, and bots probably tried to scalp it, and the whole network blew off. And I remember Phil was ranting about that, and I said, this is just terrible. Like, I would not want to have a time and place feeling like him, where I want the collector's edition of a game that I really love, but meanwhile I have to wait in line for 30 minutes just for this website to crash and not get it anyway. It's just too much anxiety for no reason. Square released their game. They knew that people wanted it, but they knew that they weren't sure how much people wanted this game. What I'm trying to say is, we have so many Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 on various different consoles that I don't think Square Enix thought, maybe people want it more on the Switch, because they're like, well, why do we need to release so many copies if this game has been out for so long already that everyone has it probably across multiple consoles? They didn't think how much of a demand it was, so they released a limited print. Will they re-release it later? Probably, but we're not 100% sure. But meanwhile, they just wanted to test run it. They released it at night, and those who were up at that time got the game. And if you take a look on eBay, like I don't know how it is now, but I took a look at it last week. There is not a lot of, like, usually scalpers will already post it. I don't see that happening. I'm sure there will be scalpers down the line, but usually there's like 30, 40 scalpers. I feel like a lot of people who do the scalping were not able to get their hands on the game because they had no idea what time it was coming out. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
they were trying to do. They were trying to avoid the scalping. They were trying to avoid their website crashing, but also they made a limited print of this game because they knew it wasn't in such a demand as it was before. Why
I have a question.
Mhm.
Would you think of it different if you weren't able to get it?
I didn't get it. That's the thing.
You didn't?
I didn't get it. I was not able to get the standard copy. I was really frustrated, just like all of us were. But the next day when they sent out a tweet, I don't know if anyone saw it, some of the copies were back up again. I missed the standard by like a second. It was in my cart. But I decided I'm just going to go with the collector's edition. Now, I'm actually considering canceling it because I feel like it's a little bit pricey for a collector edition, right? Regardless
Mm-hmm.
how much it's going to be in value down the line, I feel like it's not worth the price point for a collector that all I wanted was just the copy of the game. Um, I'm still hoping Square Enix will release some more copies. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. And I understand, like Jay, who would love it in various different retail stores like Best Buy, Amazon. Like, I get it. I too wish I didn't have to hawk up $300 for something that I probably just don't need the box, and I just want that freaking physical game, right?
But Square Enix could easily do another run,
Definitely, but
several runs.
they
It's just
don't.
that that's the frustrating part. I understand if like they're like, okay, we're backed up a bit, but we'll resume. Because this is physically, like the first time it was done physically. So if they were to say, okay, it's backed up, but we'll put it back later, just keep an eye on it. All right, I understand, but not like this one
I
time
think that they're unable to
sweep.
even promise that right now because they don't know how many games are really in demand. I think that they made this order and probably what they're gonna do. This is my guess. I think there was another game. I don't know which one it was. I forgot the title, but they had another exclusive copy that they only sold in Square Enix. And then what happened was is that they released it as a limited copy, and then later on they did reprints like in different steps, like every 3 months, let's say. So maybe they're just gonna do that. They just don't want to tell the public, so we're not like really waiting on their word. They don't want to be liars. I don't know. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
Yeah, I want to too, but it's like because a lot of fans have been asking for that for years, so they knew what they were doing, and making it limited was okay, but make it where everyone at least has a somewhat chance of obtaining it. Like,
Right.
I don't get this whole you have to be up at the crack of dawn or something and just happen to be on the internet or
No, this
anything.
is 100%. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even know because not everyone is on Twitter. So what if you didn't get a tweet letting you know there was a game out to buy now? So I
Yeah.
understand the frustration. Like I can understand why people are upset, but am I upset with Square Enix for it? I'm not, because like Phil said, he has the entire Shantae collection, and I would die right now to get Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. But no, would I wanted a reprint of it? Yes, I would, but then I know that his copy will be devalued, and as a collector, I don't know if I want to do that. Like I
But
remember,
I don't care if it gets
I
devalued. That's the
maybe
problem. I
you
mean,
don't, but someone
I
like
know a
I
lot of people else would, but
yeah.
it's just
For me,
value is
yeah.
nice, but I don't. I I remember being that kid that didn't have a lot of money and get a lot of new games. I had to get rid of games that, and I'm gonna try not to cry when I say this. I had to get rid of games that had a lot of sentimental value, which is way better than actual value. Sentimental value because there were games that me and my uncle used to play together. And he passed away of Alzheimer's, many, many years ago, really, really hard. And was so foolish for doing that. And I wish I could get some of those games back. And I wish I had those copies. And I thought about tracking them down and buying them again, even though they cost a lot more now. Scalpers, third party, whatever. My mom said that, even if you buy those games back, it's not his copies, it's somebody else's. And that just broke me because I still have a few, but I don't have everything that he gave me. And when I think about that, when I think about I had to make that sacrifice, uh, I just want people to get what they want. I don't care if the value is sky high or whatnot. And honestly, even if it did get a second print or a third print, and maybe they changed whatever, Jay was saying something about, oh, a new port of this Yee's game on a new platform. That original version you have is still that console version. So maybe it will affect the value of that, but maybe it won't because it's not that version. It's a totally different version on a different platform. So I don't know. Gaming has just got so complicated. Collecting's got so complicated, and a lot of things we used to not worry about or fret about, we worry and fret about now. I just want to enjoy games and be a part of the community and help other people get amazing games they want, regardless of value or reprints or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't collect for value. My collection, I just because I want the game. I don't really look at them as selling because I used to sell a bunch of my games when I was, high school because I wasn't making money myself.
Yeah.
And now that I could buy my own games, I don't really look at them as value down the line. It's more like, hey, now I could just take this game easily and not worry if I want to who to buy it from later or anything. And plus, yeah, I just buy to enjoy the games.
All right, so now it's time for me to speak my piece on this, and this is going to come across harsh to some listeners, and I'm sorry if it does, but
We
this
love you, Jay.
has to be said. All right, so Square Enix is a greedy, awful company,
What?
is setting a terrible precedent for limited and collector's edition games. and for re-releases. And Phil, you said you remembered when you were a kid that didn't have a lot of money and you just wanted to get the games. So what about those kids now? What about those kids that want to experience these Final Fantasy games? And to what Alie said, they don't have all of those games in their retro collections like I do.
I don't even have them.
They were gate kept from this. The average consumer cannot get this game, and that is wrong. That is wrong, and
you could get it digitally, I believe.
Exactly.
So I just cannot believe that they would take such a historical release and do something so foolish. But I can tell you why they did it.
35th anniversary too.
I can tell you why they did it. It's to protect their overhead. And they don't want to produce a whole bunch of copies and have to store them or ship them out to stores. They just want to save money. They just want to make profits. And in my opinion, it's at the cost of game playing and game collecting. And I can tell you, as a person that spends untold thousands of dollars on games every year, I will not purchase from Square Enix directly again. I will purchase used copies from GameStop so they don't get a penny of my money. I'll pick up retro games when I go out hunting, but I will not buy a new copy of a Square Enix game, and I will not buy from that website directly ever.
I feel like they handled it poorly, but I still like Square Enix games and stuff. So,
but the beauty of it is,
I felt the fire on that one, Jay. Like,
if GameStop is still around, you can still enjoy those games without giving a penny to Square Enix.
Yeah, but I do like Square Enix games. A majority of my RPGs are Square Enix. They handled it wrong, but would I stop supporting a game I like from Square Enix? Not really. If anything, I could just get those games on like eShop. Might not be the same, but I wouldn't say Square Enix is a bad company for this one release that went bad.
But what another concern I have when I talked about precedent is, let's say Capcom decides to release Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 in their original forms in a collector's edition. So you're not going to get to see any more, collections like the Devil May Cry collection or the God of War collection, because Square Enix has set a precedent now that when you want to do a very sought after collection of games, you're going to put up a pre-order in the middle of the night and you're going to screw people over with it. You're going to charge exorbitant shipping.
Nintendo did that first, but
so I'm definitely afraid that we will never see a retail collection again, because this,
I think it was just like a one-time thing. Though if they do it again, then that's totally sus. But I feel like to just like say it's a bad company for one. I mean, yeah, they messed up once.
And also, we don't really know how limited it's going to be. They could be doing a reprint of it to put it back on their website for buying purposes. And I would definitely buy it if there was a reprint. And if it was just strictly to their website, that's okay. As long as I can get my hands on a copy, I don't mind. So honestly, I'm not hating on Square Enix. I don't hate on any of these limited print companies. I buy games to game. I buy games to collect. And, if I can't get my hands on a game, which I've had this issue several times, then oh, well, tough luck for me. If I want it, I'll just get it off of eBay and cough up the money that they're charging for it. That's how it is.
Yeah, and there's also the eShop route.
Yes,
I know
exactly.
most people don't like it, especially physical collecting, but that is a route.
I definitely don't buy digital games that have a physical copy. What I do is I'll save money, and yeah, maybe it'll be scalped on eBay, but I like to wait very long time. When I find a game that I really want to buy, I'll watch a couple and see which one ends in a lower bid, and then I'll just bid it and I'll buy it. If I didn't have a copy of the Final Fantasy Pixel Edition and I would have to get it off of eBay for, let's say, standard copy, what's the most that they can scalp it? Let's see, 500, and I really need it, and it's something that I need to have on my shelf, and maybe I'll play it. Yeah, I'll save up the money and I'll buy it. It's something that's going to be worth a lot of money if they don't do a reprint. But honestly, it's like I'm also kind of frustrated when you do scalp, like when you do cough up the money for scalpers, you get this game and you're like, ooh, finally I have my hands on this shiny new toy. And then tomorrow they announce a reprint of it in another company.
Oh
Like
my
that
God.
frustrates me. Like this happened to me with Blasphemous, where I coughed up 120 for a limited run
Oof.
print company on eBay. And then like 3 months later, the actual like company, I don't remember Blasphemous, what's the devs on that. But Blasphemous, the devs were like, okay, we're gonna re-release a copy with all the patches and everything once more. Best Buy will have it, Amazon will have it, and I'm like, oh my God, what? And it's $30.
Yeah.
Yes, it was $30,
Well,
and I was just like, what? And then
Don't
I
buy
went
from
on eBay
scalpers.
and I saw the price of like my copy, how it went down, and I was just like, that's wonderful. That's great.
well, that's my take on that is like, I don't like to pay for something. I mean, there could be something I really want. Let's take one of my most wanted games on the PS2. Jay knows it. He knows it very well. Kuon. I want that game for my collection so bad. It is $1,000 PS2 game. $1,000.
Damn. What game is
Yeah,
it?
it's like a fusion between Fatal Frame and Onimusha, in my
Oh,
opinion. It's a horror game.
Damn.
You play as like a shrine maiden. I think you play as two other
oh,
characters.
I think
They have these
I
really
heard of it.
creepy. I I mean I play. I mean I've tried it. You know through
Oh,
Yeehaw pirate. Yeah, I tried it. You know, emulate. I had to try it. And I loved what I played of. I always heard people say bad things about it, but I loved it. The opening cutscene is great. The opening theme music and the art is great. I want that game, and I'm never gonna have it
Two
because
hundred dollars for a niche game?
I
That's ridiculous.
I'm never going to be able to purchase that. And I know I could, like you said, save up the money and I could get it, but think of what that $1,000 could go to. And I'm not just talking about video games. I'm talking about everything that other things that you need, other things that you need for your family. You know, what if your car breaks down? You have to fix something, or there's an emergency. You got to go to the hospital, and
well,
you don't
that's
have good
why I said
insurance.
that if you
You know,
have the money and you're able to cough it up, then definitely go the physical route.
I
But for
mean,
me,
yeah,
mainly,
you can,
Just
but
go the pirate route
sorry.
yes, I
at
was
that
gonna
point.
say that. I was
I'm
gonna
just saying,
say,
personally, for me, I I don't want to do that because I'm always going to think like, man, I spent so much money on this one thing, and yeah, I wanted it, but I don't know. That's just me. That's just my own moral
of
thing of
course,
way of thinking. If it's past my moral compass where I think I really should not be spending this much on this. This would be very wrong and foolish use of my money. Now, I'm not telling how anybody else spends their money. They could spend their money how they want. I will never tell you how to spend your money. But that's just me. Um, and so I'm never going to really have that game. I always want to have the game, but that's just how I feel about it. I guess I don't know.
All right,
That's
so
still a lot of money.
we are starting to get up against the time. So I'm going to go to each one of you for about a minute and ask
Mhm.
you, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the future of game collecting? So, Mandy, what do you think about the future of game collecting? Is it going to go uphill or downhill?
I'm optimistic because even though we have all these problems, I feel like more companies are doing these physical releases as more like unique special editions or prints of games. And I feel like, there's a good amount of people who still love collecting. And yeah, I don't think it's gonna go anywhere anytime soon, though um I'll be lying if I said like digital games are probably the future. It's probably the future, but I still feel like it's a promising future for physical collecting, even though it's annoying and hard and expensive.
Good deal. All right, Alie, what do you think about the future?
I think that as we see new systems coming up and they're trying to keep them digital only. We can see that with, let's say, the Steam Deck, for example, that's basically taking over handheld consoles. And I myself have a Steam Deck, and honestly, it's like the most convenient way for me to play as well. I
Yep.
noticed that convenience, that like, because there's so much lack of space, and like, like I live in a small apartment, so places like that, I feel like digital gaming is really going to take over. People are going to want to stop printing. People are going to want to stop having these physical prints, maybe just because of the lack of resources. We don't know what's going to happen with the world down the line. Digital games are probably going to be the way to go. And maybe not now, maybe not in the next 5 years, but definitely maybe I give it another 10 years before we see everything go digital.
All right. Phil, what do you think about the future, buddy?
I agree with Alie with the Steam Deck is a very tempting route to play your games, and you can save a lot of money going that route. It costs quite a bit to go through the initial door at 600, but there's so much you can do with it, and there's going to be so many leaps in the technology, new devices coming out. I was talking to a friend earlier today on the phone. He showed me other devices, a device that's already more powerful than the Steam Deck. It looks amazing. Um, so I feel like people are going to really, personally, I feel like people want to get away from like the big rig PCs and go for Steam Deck Switch like experiences because it seems so tempting to everybody. But at the same time, I do love physical and I would never want that to go away. And I'm very thankful, regardless of all the issues that we may have with this limited publisher or that limited publisher. I'm very thankful that we have physicals of these titles because there are so many indie titles that I don't think would have gotten a physical if it wasn't for these companies stepping up and doing what they're doing. So I'm appreciative of that, and I'm optimistic about the future of gaming. So
Good deal.
yeah.
Good deal. So I'm going to close out our podcast here with a little message for you guys. So, I might get frustrated with what Square Enix did. I might be concerned about the future of open pre-orders and a print to demand business model. But when I played a game like Fire Emblem Engage today, it makes me optimistic and hopeful for the future. So no matter what our struggles might be, no matter how angry we might get, when we play games like Xenoblade 3, when we play games like Fire Emblem Engage, it kind of brings you back to what this is really about. And it's about having fun. And some of us like me, who hunts in the wild and is a strictly physical collector, I'm going to have to adapt. But I promise you, I'm still going to be having fun 10 years from now playing these games. So real quick, I'm going to go to each one of you real quick. We got about 2 minutes left. Mandy, where can our listeners find you on your socials?
You can find me on my Twitter at Mandyleeplays, and you can find me on my channel, Mandyleeplays, as well.
Good deal. Alie, where can our listeners find you?
I have a Twitter account, which is at GamerXNaggy, and you can also find me on YouTube, which is at Naggy Alie.
Good deal. Phil, where are we going to find you in the future?
Well, I'm going to be changing my name and everything, but currently at the jokester _ Mr. J on Twitter. And you can find me also on YouTube, the jokester Mr. J. And also, if you buy from Premium, you'll probably hear from me in the emails. I'll be answering your customer service.
Good deal. Well, guys, I thank you all for having you on. You are all some of my most beloved content creators. I'm sure our listeners enjoyed the show. And once again, listeners, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay creepy.